Namaste. Namaste and welcome. This is Shantal from She Achieves Studio on our weekly weekend card pull every Sunday evening, 8:15 to 8:45 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you for joining me, and I would love to welcome my husband, David, as a very special co-host. So thank you for being here this evening.
You're welcome.
This is a very special weekend card pull, not only because David is joining, also because there is full moon, super moon, and pink moon all wrapped into one lovely, brilliant package tomorrow evening. And this is a time of release. This is a time of transition. And this is a time of letting go. And we're honoring this evening. So here are our cards this evening. So we will do a little bit of grounding, but I'd like to ask David a few questions. Why are you here? Why did you say yes?
Because you asked.
Oh, he's so nice. And anything else to go along with that?
No.
Okay.
No, just that.
Okay. So our intent, and this is like a first stretching. Good girl. Good girl, not tripping over the wires. The intent this evening, and with every weekend card pull, is to honor our past week, however that showed up for you in your moment, and to allow a sense of dissolve into that space of the past week, to allow an opening, perhaps a forefront of something new, what's upcoming for you in the next week. So it's closure, yet it's transitioning into an opening. And isn't that what a full moon kind of represents? An ending into a new beginning. And that kind of goes along with not only yogic philosophy, but humanity, transitioning into the next cycle. So we'll start with a bit of a grounding. Okay, so whether you are seated, whether you are standing or lying, just find a comfortable position and take a moment wherever you are to be present, whether your eyes are open or your eyes are closed. And during this time, I invite you to bring in a sense of awareness of not only your physical body, yet the emotional body, the energetic body, the mental body, intuitive and spiritual bodies. And we call these in yogic philosophy, pancha kosha. So as I light our sacred Palo Santo for cleansing not only our space, but your space as well. Breathe into belly and just breathe into heart. Eyes open or eyes closed, whatever feels right for you in this moment. And invite a moment of silence. I'm just going to let that burn organically. Invite a moment of breath. And perhaps in your weekend, invite a moment of calm. Breathe into belly, breathe into heart, an open mouth and a gentle sigh. Release. And when you are ready, if your eyes are not open, please open them now and be present with us. Thank you for sharing your space with our space. So our intent, while we talk about our intent, I'm going to be shuffling the cards. And these cards are from Colette Baron-Reid. And if you are jiving into oracle cards, these are the Enchanted Map. And isn't that wonderful? Because I received these as a gift from my big sister. These were one of the first cards that I was ever gifted. And they're very, very powerful, and they're very special. So our intent this evening, I was asking David earlier about energy, because we've been on this energy gig. If you want, you can view some of the past recordings of the weekend card pull or the 5-minute morning meds, which I also host on Facebook Live every Wednesday morning at 7:35 to 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And the weekend card pull and the 5-minute morning meds kind of go hand in hand. The 5-minute morning meds offers us a chance to check in through midweek. Okay. So right now we've been talking about energy. And I asked David earlier, what happens when we release energy, yet we don't give it a destination? When we're cleaning out our closet, let's say, okay, we sometimes might have a throwaway pile. We might have a recycle pile, and we might have a keep pile. We have a destination. Even for StreamYard, which I'm using this evening for the very first time, which is awesome, it gives you an option to have a destination for where you are directing your energy into. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever. Okay. So why are we not more cognizant and aware of when we release our energy, full moon, new moon, whenever, that we put that energy, we direct that energy somewhere? I don't know. Why don't we? Why don't we, David?
Why don't we, Shantal?
And because the way I think of it is, if we have the intention of releasing our energy, yet we don't give it a destination, it's bouncing around in the etheric realm all over the place. It can bounce off of you, or it can bounce into you. And that's, if we're not aware and we're not present of our space, it can penetrate into our, as I call it, sacred aura of prana. So why not give our energy that we release a destination? And what happens when we don't give it a destination?
Bounces off of me and sticks to you.
It bounces off of, sorry, say that again.
Bounces off me and sticks to you.
It bounces off of you. No, it bounces off of me and sticks to you.
No. When you don't give it a destination and it comes at me because it doesn't have a destination, but I may be your sounding board destination, right? It needs to, I need to find a way to not accept just like that.
Okay, so this is a wonderful example, okay? Just to give you a bit of a background, we're in Fort McMurray. I own and operate She Achieves Studio, a sacred women's healing studio, warrior goddess, certified level 2, Reiki level 2, Thai yoga massage, etc. I'm a spiritual visionary, okay? And David is also a spiritual visionary in his own way, in a very masculine way, okay? Which is awesome. It's a great yin-yang combination. So while David was talking, I was whispering, louder, louder, speak louder, speak louder. So he had a choice at that moment to either do what I am asking you to, or bounce it off, which I feel that he bounced off, which is awesome. Okay, so are you aware if I'm, let's say, dumping on you and I'm not directing, I'm releasing the energy? Because sometimes I give energy that I release a destination, but I'm going to be honest with you, spiritual visionary and all, not all the time, not always. Okay. So what happens? Do you automatically take it on? Do you find yourself taking on the energy that I'm dumping on you?
No, I've learned not to. I've learned to recognize when you are unloading and needing to get stuff off of you. So I've learned to not take stuff personal, whether it's through tone or words. I've learned to she needs to just get this out. Better out than in. She just needs to get it out. So I listen. I provide feedback when I have the opportunity, which isn't always there, because sometimes the unloading can go on for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
Long.
Mm-hmm.
So I just let it go. Sometimes I have to put it in my hand.
Okay, so
and
how?
just so I can interject a little bit here and there, but
Yeah,
I just learned to not accept it as personal. It's not nothing personal towards me. It's just you're getting stuff off of you.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, I get it.
Uh-huh.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that and recognizing that. Has it always been that way?
No, God, no.
How long have we been together?
19 years.
19 years. Okay, we've been together. Okay. So, how, not that this is a time frame in your experience, how, like, and reflecting, how long ago, when did you realize that this could be beneficial to you and our marriage to have this point of view?
Fully,
Yeah, like honestly.
like fully,
Yes.
probably. You know what? Probably um, at the start of COVID. Probably at the start of last year, like to fully not take it on.
Really?
Sure, yes, because there'd be parts of it that would still I'd take personal, but in the last year, because of your work and because of the way the world dynamic is, and you not being able to do what you do, and yet I get to go to work, I get to leave and go and do a job and come back, and then when I come home, there would be a lot of days where it would be she has a lot to say and she has a lot to get off, and so I
Okay.
listen. And so I learned over the last year to really listen and really just not take on anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also recognized when I need to know the difference between, oh, I need to take this on. She needs me to have this. She's
Like what?
She's direct. This is for me.
So you purposefully make a conscious choice to accept the energy that perhaps I am protruding onto you as I dump.
Sure.
And how do you do this? And how do you know this?
Because I can see I can see in your tone, or I can feel your stress. I can feel your emotion to it, where it's almost I don't want to say a cry for help, but you're you want it away, but you need help with it going away. So I help.
Oh, so okay. So do you think in that instance or that experience that perhaps I'm asking for help without asking for help and you take it upon yourself being present and aware to help me with that? You recognize it before I do.
Yes, but I also know after 19 years that I would previously give you help without you even asking for help, but yet you don't want help. So, because I'm mansplaining things, or I'm like being the guy, and I'll fix it for you, and so I learned to pick my moments of when those moments are required.
Okay. And trial and error,
Oh,
I guess.
yes, most
Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
Cool. So going back to our intent of where do we put our energy when we release it? Where do we give it a destination? Or do we give it a destination? And what happens when we don't give it a destination? Where does that energy kind of go? And I know sometimes being very connected to the elements, especially through warrior goddess training, which is based on the Toltec shamanic lineage, is connecting to the elements. Yogic philosophy, Thai yoga, massage, Ayurveda, all of that is based on basically the elements. And for some of you yogis out there, if you know from the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita or even the Yoga Sutras, is the the chakras, the gunas, the kleshas, the koshas, all of that. And that's really, in essence, what She Achieves Studio tries to bring to the table in a realistic, tangible way. So with the intent of, what do we do with our energy when we release it? Do we have a fire? Do we have candles? Do we light incense? What do you do? Like, when I don't even want to talk about when I'm releasing onto you. What do you do actually for you when you're releasing the energy? Have you ever given it a destination?
Well, you know me, so you know I don't. I don't usually unload a lot. I don't think. I don't think I do. I don't have a. When I'm trying to release, I don't know. I probably hold it in more than I ever should, I guess. But I don't. I don't know. I don't. I don't know about thinking of where it goes. I tell you what. I probably do most of is I release it when I'm alone and I'm driving, and I just get it out of me, and it's just I'm driving. Like if I drive to work and I talk and I'll just get it out, and then it's out of me.
Okay, so what about like when you golf?
Yeah.
Do you feel that sometimes you physically, your anamaya kosha, your physical body, with that movement, that intensity, that swing, the cadence, the rhythm, the timing, the rotation, all of that that goes with golf? Do you ever feel that maybe in your mind you are subconsciously releasing energy?
No, I don't think of
Okay.
it that way.
Okay.
No, I try not to think of much when I'm doing that.
When you golf?
No, no, no.
Got it. Do you think that that could help you, like, do you have an intent before you go either to the driving range or play a golf game? Do you have, I'm not going to say a spiritual intent, but perhaps an intuitive intent when you golf, before you golf, or when you go to the driving range?
I have. I don't know if it's a practical intent. I have an intent of wanting to strive to accomplish a task when I go.
Intuitively, though, versus linear, like,
No, no, no.
okay,
I don't.
okay.
No.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. So during our talk, as we were talking, the card came up, movement, number 28. And I'm not really sure how StreamYard works exactly as far as how I can post this. I'll get it to She Achieves Studio Facebook page eventually and have the story and the card posted. So can I ask you, David? I love having a co-host. This is awesome. What do you see in the card, David?
I see a hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm.
I see ostrich, a very large ostrich, which appears to have on its back a bush mountain kind of, I don't want to say island, but it looks like a hill of bush, trees, and shrubs, and that with a windmill on the very top of that point. And it's got one leg on the ground and one leg bent in the fashion that it would for moving forward.
Okay. And what is the word?
The word is movement on card 28.
Movement. So if we look at the word movement, we can have movement on any kosha. We can have movement physically, energetically, emotionally, mentally, intuitively, spiritually, blissfully. And the full moon, the upcoming full moon, actually represents movement. It is a swollen, full piece of universe that is going to release. So there has to be some movement somehow. And we see the movement in the phases. We see the movement in so many parts of our lives as well, whether we're aware of it or not. Okay. And as always, one of the mottos at She Achieves Studio is you get to choose to step in or step out. This is not about being right or wrong. This is above that frequency, above those vibrations. Okay. So when we look at movement, sometimes when we're not able to move past something, it is due to a stagnation, or as I call it, a constipation. And we can be constipated on any level. Again, any of the koshas. Okay. So this is inviting us into our movement. And I'm going to read you the story. So if you like to, you can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever feels right for you in this moment. This is the time for positive movement and momentum as you come out of a period of restriction. And again, that restriction can be on any level, not just physical or emotional. You're in a stage of new adventure and also discovery. You may feel compelled to take a trip, change your hair, or move your home or business. Regardless, you can't remain where you are anymore. You feel compelled to go forward. You have that intuitive calling. And when we talk about intuition, it's about knowing without having to reason mentally. Okay? No matter what your inquiry, you will see your dreams take form and doors previously shut begin to open as if by magic. So when we're able to create space to move into, we can then move into it. If we are unable to have space to move forward, if that space is not open, then we just keep bouncing back. We have nowhere to go. If there is no room to move and the space, the Akashic energy is congested, you're not going to move. You're going to have a very hard time moving. So if there's an excess of Muladhara energy or earth energy, or even Kapha energy, Kapha dosha energy, it's going to be very hard to move. So that's why the full moon and honoring the full moon and the expansion is very important, because we have to have space before we can even move into that space. That's why I feel that giving energy that we want to release a destination can help rid us, which is sometimes called embodiment, taking action from a thought. Okay. Pick up what I'm laying down. I would love to hear your comments. I don't know about David, but I would love to hear your comments. Would you like to hear their comments too?
Sure.
Okay. So no matter what your inquiry, you will see your dreams take form and doors previously shut begin to open as if by magic. Movement is also a state of mind. Movement is also a state of mind. If you're not ready to move, you're not going to be ready to move. And can that be enough? The way you show up, can that be enough for you in your moment? Does it always have to be something more? Okay. So movement is also a state of mind. The fog lifts and you know the actions that you need to take. This isn't the time to fear. Let it go and move forward. So if we go back into the chakras, our subtle energy systems, okay, Manipura chakra is our solar plexus. It has to do with metabolism, the fire element, okay? And if we have an intention right here, that this is, I'll use the Pokemon cards. This is an intention right here. This is my intention, but yet this is the energy. This is the energy that I need to make this intention real in my life, embodied. Okay. If there's a big space between the intention and the energy, you get to choose what's in between this space. You also get to choose how far away the intention and the energy is. You also get to choose how close it is. And I'm not saying that this is easy. I'm not saying it's easy to close the gap from intention and action. All I'm doing is bringing up that there is a sense of space or a sense of congestion. So, in other words, you can have the greatest intention of doing something, but if you don't have the action to follow through with it, it's always going to stay an intention. And sometimes, that's just the way it is. It's not good or it's not bad. Remember, we're above that. We're on a higher frequency here. Okay. Or could you not have the greatest intention or the greatest energy, a lot of energy, but yet you have nowhere to direct it? And that's kind of what our intent was today, was when we release energy, why don't we have more awareness of where we are directing that energy? Are we going to put it back into Mother Earth to recycle? Well, isn't Mother Earth healing herself? Do we put it up towards this Father Sky in the universe for the universe to recycle it into love? I don't know. That's what we're talking about. So I don't have the answers. I'm just bringing up these curiosities for you to find out for yourself. Okay. So how did that card, did you resonate with that card at all about movement?
Mm-hmm.
In what way?
About personally, about moving more, losing weight, getting into shape ish.
So more your physical body.
Sure. But having the intent and the energy, the intent's there, but the energy might not be. Right? And there's this space between of closing that gap.
Yeah, from where you are and where you want to go.
Sure. Yes.
And that does take movement. And that's really interesting that you brought that up, because that was exactly what we were talking today about in Sweat and Serenity, which is a ongoing registered signature series at She Achieves Studio. Feel free to drop in at sheachievestudio.com for more information. And we have monthly soulful group calls. And that's where we the group, we bring in a collective intent and we discuss in a very safe and sacred space. And for those of you who do know She Achieves Studio, one of the biggest invocations and mantras that She Achieves Studio offers is safe and sacred space for all women on all levels. That's why it's so amazing that David's here, because I don't really interview a lot of men, and well, not interview, but have a co-host. So it's pretty honorable. And thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So getting back to what you're talking about, bridging the gap of where you are and where you want to be. And there's so much, sometimes dark matter, or is that what is called, dark matter or black? What's that?
I call it fluff. I just call it fluff.
Woo, woo.
Because sometimes it's like the easiest stuff in the world to move, but the energy to move just doesn't get it done.
Okay. So when you have a large gap between where you are and where you want to go, this is why we become creative. This is why we ask to have a loving and curious approach to it versus an expectant or an assuming or judgmental approach to it. And this is part of what warrior goddess training is all about. And even I'm warrior goddessing. Well, I kind of call him my warrior god sometimes when he throws warrior goddess training back in my face. But it's true. It can be applied to anyone, anywhere. Is that how do we bridge the gap from where we are and where we want to go? What is the resistance? What is the interference in between? And honestly, you are your own You are your own self-healer. You are your own healer. I truly believe, with all of the yogic training that I've had over the years, and even fitness training, being a fitness competitor, yoga instructor, fitness instructor, all of that, is that if you're not ready, it's not going to happen. So do you think that the willingness has to be there to even bridge that gap a little bit closer?
Sure. And you talked about, what was it, having space,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So if I have the intent and the energy, but I don't have the space, or I don't create that space to bridge that gap, I can't get there. Right. And now I have this fluff in my
And
way because
yeah.
it's that space isn't there.
And the fluff, I call it the kleshas. And they're the 5 obstacles of suffering in yogic philosophy. And actually, if you go to She Achieves Studio YouTube channel, there's an hour and a half session that I offered quite a while back on the kleshas if you want to learn more about them. So getting back to the fluff, or the kleshas, or the obstacles, the interference, the self-limiting beliefs, the agreements, the unconscious agreements, the agreements, all of that, that is that static in between. Mm-hmm. So just like anything, if we come head on, it may meet us halfway, and then we bounce back, and then we keep doing this, and then we keep doing this. So my question to not only you, but to you, is how can you be in relationship with that resistance that is there? Our sympathetic nervous system automatically will tell us to fight or flight. Yet, what if you're ready? And no one can tell you that you're ready until you feel it in your breath, you feel it in your heart. What if you're ready to meet it, but not head on? What if you're ready to meet it with a sense of loving curiosity? What if you're ready to meet that resistance with childlike wonderment? And when I say loving curiosity, I'm like, you're really curious. Why is this showing up? Now, you may or may not be ready. And again, that's something you got to figure out. And there is lots of support out there if this, goes deeper for you. However, right now we're just looking at it loving and curious. How do you combat that? That gray, that fluff? Well, what do you do? Do you create space for it? Do you see it as a resistance and continually butt heads? Do you butt heads for 6 months and then all of a sudden something happens and you're like, okay, I'm ready now? Like what happens? No one knows, because that's such an individual and personal experience. And we know that our experiences are based on our perceptions, and our perceptions are based on our experiences. So this is not to tell you what to do. This is to open up curiosity into your space, to perhaps open up a question versus a judgment, and to bring in a sense of movement. So our closing this evening is to answer the question of, where do we put our energy when we release it? Well, that's such a personal question. And that's my question to you. I would love to hear your comments and your curiosities about this, because everyone is going to have a different answer. And again, this is above right or wrong, good or bad. We are on a higher frequency here. And if you're engaged in that right or wrong, that heavier energy, that's where you are. I'll honor that as well. Okay. So I guess we just wait and see what happens.
Okay.
He's such a good boy. Okay. So we're going to sign off. I will post the movement card, which is very fitting for our upcoming full moon, full moon, pink moon, super moon, upcoming tomorrow, in Scorpio, and ask yourself, if you do choose to move on whatever level, where or is there space for you to move into it? And if there isn't space to move into it, if you're willing and ready, are you able to create space? And how can you create space to move into it? Because remember, even if our intention is to move, if there's no space to move into, this can happen. And if you're interested in diving deeper, please join me for She Achieves Studios free and fee-based offerings, all located in She Achieves Studios lair at sheachievestudio.com. And thank you, David, for sharing, well, your trust, your love, and your life with mine.
No problem.
I say namaste. Thank you. Peace. I love you all.
Love you too.
We'll see you again. Bye.